She founded an architectural concrete company.
He founded a $100 million clothing company.
She took the world by storm as a social media star.
He took the world by storm as a famous serial entrepreneur.
Together we started a business.
And had babies.
Now we're figuring out the best ways to do both.
Join us as we learn from other entrepreneurs going through the same life struggles.
As they share their life hacks about success, love, kids,
and everything in between.
Welcome to the Pretty and Punk podcast. My name is Dan Caldwell.
And I'm Ildiko Ferenczi, and welcome to the very first ever episode of the Pretty and Punk podcast, a business podcast for entrepreneurs with kids or thinking about having kids.
We're really excited to bring you this podcast. We wanted to do this first episode really explaining why both of us decided to start this podcast, because we almost started it like 5 years ago.
That's
in 2015.
Right.
And we were just starting a business, and we thought, let's start a podcast that's kind of based around, so it explains the steps through our business.
And power couples.
Yeah, how a power couple starts a business, and maybe bring on world-class entrepreneurs and have them tell their stories on how they started their business. And then we had a kid.
Bam! All of a sudden we had a baby.
And our lives changed. So we...
In a good way. Because listen, for years I believed I couldn't have babies. And that was a heartache. That was really hard for me as a woman to wrap my head and my life around that. I always planned that I would have kids. And to deal with that heartache, I built businesses. I took on everything that came my way that interested me. I think the thing that kind of healed me and got my mind off that heartache was exactly that. Pursuing my passions, building businesses. And then I met this other entrepreneur that had the exact same vision that I did.
And good looking.
I'll give you that. So here we are, two entrepreneurs pursuing our passions, building businesses, traveling the world, and bam, I get pregnant, which let me tell you was the best moment of my life. And I proved myself wrong, because with the first breath of my firstborn son, my best life, I can honestly say my best life started at that moment. And I had a total recall moment where here I was telling myself for years that I couldn't do this with kids. And now here I am. I'm going to have to. And I had the total recall moment because my mom, as a single mom, entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, I grew up in her businesses. So this wasn't actually that far off. And I had planned during my pregnancy to have nannies and all this stuff, but we kind
of argued about that.
We did, yeah, because my husband's like, no,
because
you're not going to do it.
No, I'd grown up with a stay-at-home mom, so I wasn't used to that type of thing. I was used to my mom being there, and I wanted my kids to have that. And so we kind of weren't seeing eye to eye on that.
Because I still wanted to pursue my dreams and build businesses. I'm not going to be a stay-at-home mom. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I just was in a different mindset. So when they laid my son in my arms, I said, I'm going to figure out a way to do this with my son. And, I'm at a point in my life where I wasn't running the architectural concrete company anymore. And even with that, I see parents bringing their kids on site. Like there's all these different entrepreneurial couples with kids, and everybody's living them different, and not everybody includes their kids.
And you don't have to.
You don't have to. There's no right or wrong.
Everybody can do it their own way.
But all of a sudden, and I was gonna leave my kids at home with a nanny and whatever else. But all of a sudden, I had that total recall moment where my mom, she gave me the decision if I wanted to be with sitters or go to preschool. And I chose to be by my mom's side because I was so engaged and loved being in that environment.
Well, she had a jewelry shop at the time. And you being in there, you probably wanted to be by your mom, but it's probably kind of exciting too, being in that type of atmosphere.
I loved hearing this story. I loved being around adults more than kids. But this isn't all kids, but I wanted my son to be able to decide. So I didn't want to be away. I didn't want anyone else looking after my child. So at that point, I made his mind up for me. He's going to come to my shoots. He's going to come to the red carpets. And if someone doesn't want to book me because I have a kid, then I guess they don't book me.
But not everybody can bring their kid with them either.
No.
So there's other ways of doing that.
That's right.
And I mean, I think that when we also were starting a business together at the same time, so an online business. So it kind of gave us this opportunity to like slowly educate him because he was starting to get older. He's 4 now. And we wanted to kind of involve him in that business a little bit as much as we could.
And just be hands-on. This is just, when you have kids, you realize that it just flies by. And I didn't realize how quickly it would fly by. So everybody told me I'm at that age where other entrepreneurs are having kids and they're like, this is precious. Take every moment in. And at that point I said, I am going to take every moment in. I'm going to be the hands-on mom. I'm going to be a little bit different because I'm still going to do business and my passions.
And that means, and we would bring him on meetings too. So right now we go on meetings and we'll bring him with him, with us to dinner to go to an important meeting. And it's a little weird sometimes, but it's just how we choose to do it. And not everybody has to do it that way. There's going to be a lot of entrepreneurs that we have on this show. Well, we're going to have world-class entrepreneurs that we're going to be interviewing on this show. And many of them don't do their business like that. Many of them, their kids are at home and they do things a different way.
And I want to hear
And that's exciting too.
I want
because we're still figuring it out. In a lot of ways, we're still figuring it out. We've had a lot of success with what we're doing. And we've struggled with a lot of what we're doing too. It's been hard. I mean, we used to travel a lot. We were traveling all over the world when we first got together.
Yeah.
And now we really haven't gone. I mean, we live in Vancouver part-time and we live in Los Angeles part-time. And so we're back and forth between there.
But it's so exciting in this entrepreneurial world where we meet other couples and it's like a secret gang. Like once you have kids, there's this just energy when you find out that the other entrepreneur has kids. Like you're all of a sudden
this unspoken word where you both know you're going through this craziness of
it's
this
juggle.
Yeah.
And everybody has a different juggle. And it's so interesting. And I'm like, why aren't people pulling back the curtain and sharing this? It's so inspiring and uplifting, hearing the good, bad, the juggle, the craziness, the wins. And they're building successful companies.
And families.
Yeah.
And successful companies. Yeah, that's good that you brought that up because a lot of this podcast is going to be about how to build your businesses because that's something new for us too. I had a successful company. You had a successful company. We both sold our businesses or our companies. And so we were both kind of starting over, even though you were doing more social media at the time, and then we decided to start this business together. So it's like we're starting over, and now starting over with kids because I have kids previous also, and now I'm starting over with kids too. So it was almost like a new adventure, something that we had never done before. You had never had kids before, and I had never included my kids in this way where it was just interesting to me because I really enjoyed embarking on that and talking through that with you and trying to figure out how we were going to do it best.
And it opened my eyes. Like I'm on social media and I have a presence there and I'm getting hundreds of messages from moms and dads and people that haven't had children yet. They're entrepreneurs that haven't had kids, but they're asking me what it's like now that I have kids. And I don't want to just give them my perspective. Because we're going to have the privilege of speaking to all these different entrepreneurs with kids, I want them to hear the full story before they move on.
Yeah, other people's stories too, like what are they doing? Because some people maybe they're bringing their kids with them, maybe they're exposing them to it, maybe they're not. It's like I wanted my other kids. I think my other kids, not really any of them interested in being an entrepreneur. Right. I don't think they're doing great things. They're doing amazing things, but it's sports and my
right. Not everybody's interested in business.
Yeah, they want to do things their own way, and I just want my kids to be happy, whatever that is.
Exactly. I mean, that's our whole point. That's our whole purpose in parents is to make sure our kids are happy.
And so we wanted this podcast to really help families that are struggling or trying to figure that stuff out, or even if you're an entrepreneur and you're thinking about having kids, this would be a great podcast for you because you'll see what other entrepreneurs are doing and how they've implemented different tactics in their life.
You can take what works for you. Everything's different for everybody, and there's going to be so much value for you to pick and choose from and learn from. And just know you guys aren't alone. And you guys are going to build incredible businesses, and we can't wait to hear all about it. Feel free to drop lines about what you're going through, what you're facing, the little wins,
the big wins, the big wins,
the big wins,
the little losses,
the tears, the laughter. We want to hear it all. We're going through it too.
So you can hit up Spicy Lil Pepper at Spicy Lil Lil Pepper on Instagram and Facebook, Ildiko Ferenczi, and I'm Tap Out Punkette.
No, it's Spicy Lil Pepper 1. But it's Ildiko Ferenczi, but it's just an easy way. I mean, good luck spelling my name.
And also the Pretty and Punk Podcast or Pretty and Punk Podcast on Instagram. You can reach us there. So we look forward to hearing from you guys. We'll be here every single week with great entrepreneurs and some great conversation. And we hope you join us. Be sure to subscribe. And if you know anybody who can use this message, please share this with them and share this on your platforms if you can. And we will deeply appreciate that. And we thank you so much.
We cannot wait to walk this journey with you.
And we thank you so much.
Yes,
and we will see you next week.
See you next week.
Thanks for listening. Please subscribe. We love you.